and stability class, all body weight movements, and I will provide regressions as necessary. Regressions are steps down from whatever movement we're doing. And then for anyone that the movement is too easy, I'll provide things to make it more challenging if you would like. So bear squats, we are here. We're coming down into a normal squat position. Normal squat position, toes angled out. The distance between your feet is whatever is comfortable for you. So generally feet just outside of hips. We want the knees to stay in line with the toes, and we don't want them to come too far over the toes. So weight should be in our heels here. Core is nice and tight. Coming down into whatever depth is comfortable for you. And then you're coming out into a bear position. Bear position, you're about an inch off the floor with the knees. And then you're gonna walk the hands back into your squat, standing back up. We're here 10 times. Coming down into your squat, walking your hands out to a bear, keeping the core nice and tight, pulling shoulder blades apart, crawling back up to your squat position, repeating 8 more times. Breathing as you go, just getting blood flowing here, so it shouldn't feel too challenging. If this is super easy for people and you don't feel like it's a good warm-up for you, you can also do a full burpee. So this is actually the regression for a burpee. Burpee, you'd be here, jumping, coming out into a plank position, and doing a push-up. That would be a much harder form of a bear squat. So I'll keep doing bear squats because it seems like that's gonna be the best for most people. But if you want to do burpees, that's also an option for people that are a little bit more experienced. Let's go 3 more here. Last one. Then we're gonna go into plank to pike. So you're coming into a plank position here, high plank position. So hands are directly under the shoulders, pulling shoulder blades apart, core is nice and tight. Then you're gonna come up into a plank. You may need to move your feet in a little bit. All you're gonna do is alternate in between plank and pike, 10 times. I'm going to give a more challenging option for those of you that would like it. If you want an extra challenge, you're picking up one leg, going into 3-legged downward dog, and then you're bringing that knee to meet the elbow. You would do 3 or 4 on each side. Keeping the core nice and tight the whole time, pulling shoulder blades apart, driving that leg of the floor, driving that foot into the ground. If you're not doing the knee to elbow, you're just here in your plank to pike. Doing 10 total. I will pause every once in a while just to check in on people and make sure everything looks okay, but please keep going until you get to your 10. Really nice work. Good, guys, just getting the blood flowing. One more warm-up exercise here. Once it looks like people are through their 10, we're gonna do bear shoulder taps. So bear position, the same as we were doing in our bear squats. You're here on all fours, knees are about an inch off the floor, and you're just tapping the shoulders, keeping the core nice and tight. Try to limit the amount of sway that you have side to side when you're tapping your shoulders. So that's the challenging part, is keeping the core nice and tight and keeping everything else still. The only thing we want is tapping the shoulders here. If that's too difficult, you can drop your knees to the ground. 30 times for those. So 1 tap is 1 time. So 1, 2, 3. Going through that 30 times. Don't let the low back arch. Keep the core nice and tight. Pull the shoulder blades apart. Nice work. Knees about an inch off the floor if you're doing the full movement. Otherwise, you can drop the knees to the floor, keeping the core nice and tight. This is really good shoulder stability work as well. Good work. Once you get to 30, we will move on. Very good. Okay, going into our workout, we're starting with the lower body portion. A little bit of warm up still for lower body. We're gonna do some ice skaters. So you're here, you can tap the floor if you want to, or you can just keep the arm up. Lunging. I like to think of this front leg is at 12 o'clock. This back leg is coming to about 4 or 5 o'clock. Keeping the core nice and tight. Don't let the knee come over the toes. Try to keep the shin nice and vertical. Coming as low as is comfortable for you. You don't have to squat all the way or lunge all the way down. Just keep the height, whatever's comfortable for you. We're going 20 times on those. 20 total, so 10 each side. Once we get through these, I will actually start counting and doing all the movements with you guys. Just kind of want to make sure we're all on the same track here. Should start to feel the heart rate picking up a little bit. Very nice work, guys. Okay, we're gonna go into lateral bound jumps with an added jump squat. So you're here, regular squat, one time. This next squat, as you come out of your squat, you're gonna jump laterally. Doing a squat in between each one, counting 10 total. This will be going from 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If those don't work for you guys, we're gonna go through that one more time. You can also just do body weight squats. Then we're going into single leg bridges. Make sure you guys can see me okay. We are laying down on our backs. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Once you come up, we're gonna go into a bridge. Once you come up into your bridge, the glutes should be turned on. Shins should be nice and vertical. So I don't want to be all the way here with my shins over my toes. I want them to be straight. Get a big breath in, get the core nice and tight. As you come up, squeezing the glutes. The goal here is to pick up one leg and do single leg bridges, 10 on each side. That is your first option. If you need to make it easier, you can just do regular bridges. Here, 20 times. If you need to make it harder than single leg bridges, you're coming up into your bridge, keeping the hips nice and in line on each bridge. So as I come up, I'm not letting this side of the hips drop down and keeping everything nice and tight. And then if I want to add an extra challenge, I can flare my leg out at the top of each one. But same thing, if you start to feel the hips drop, don't come so far out. You have to keep the core really nice and tight. Doing 10 on each side. You can either go through 10 on one side and then through 10 on the other, or you can go alternating sides. These are really, really good for glute stability and strength, especially when we're at home and we don't have weights, stuff like this, where you're practicing strength and stability at the same time will make it much easier when you go back to the gym later on. As long as you're using the muscle, Doesn't have to be a lot of weight put on the muscle as long as it's doing similar movements to what we usually do in the gym. That'll make our return to the gym much smoother. 10 on each side. I'll wait till it looks like most people are through them, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. Good. Then we're doing reverse lunges, and I'm also going to add an optional extra challenge for your reverse lunges if you would like. So you're either here, we're doing 10 total on each leg. So you're either here, just doing a regular reverse lunge, shin nice and vertical, pelvis is tucked under, core is turned on, rib cage is dropped down. If you want to add an extra challenge, you can bring this toe up to meet the knee. Otherwise, if you want to keep it a little bit easier, just stepping down in between each one, 10 on each side. I like to pick up the toe, bring it to the knee. It adds that extra stability challenge. It tests your balance at the top. 10 on each side. Keeping the rib cage drop down, the core nice and tight. It's okay if you're a little bit shaky at the top. That means that your stability is being tested and muscles are working. Whatever you want to do with your arms here, you can bring them down and together as you come up, whatever's comfortable. If you need to bring them out for stability, that's fine as well. 10 on each leg. Nothing should really be rushed, especially because we're working on stability today. You cannot improve your stability if you're rushing through the movement, because then you're not really thinking about what muscles are working. A lot of this stuff too, it helps to pick a point to look at so that it makes balancing a little bit less of a challenge. Looks like people are ready to move on. Then we have squat pulses. We're going to superset our squat pulses with a 30-second squat hold. So we're coming into our regular squat position, whatever that is for you, pulsing at the bottom. So coming down into your squat, starting in 3, 2, 1, 20 pulses, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, weight in the heels, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and holding for 30 seconds. Keep the core nice and tight. Don't let the low back arch. Keep the neck neutral, so not dropping the head, not up here. Draw shoulder blades down and back. Keep the weight in the heels. If you need to come up, that's totally fine. We have about 10 more seconds. Good work, guys. Breathing and time. We are going to go on to upper body. We'll see how much time we have. If we have extra time at the end, we may go through some of these movements one more time, but I'd like to get through everything first. We're doing 10 push-ups, option to go off the knees if you need to. I would like elbows to be in as close to the body as possible. So here, pulling shoulder blades apart as you come down, keeping elbows in nice and close. 10 times, option to go off the knees if necessary. Don't let the low back arch. Keep the elbows in nice and close. Core nice and tight. After you finish your push-ups, we're going into bird dogs. So you're here on all fours. Option, keep the core nice and tight. Don't let the low back arch here. Keep everything turned on, pulling shoulder blades apart. So you're bringing opposite arm and foot up at the same time. Not letting the low back arch, keeping the pelvis nice and tucked here. 20 total. If that's too challenging for your stability, you can go arm, leg, arm, leg. Otherwise, I'd like everything simultaneous here. 20 total. Once again, not rushing through it. Keeping the core nice and tight. Neck neutral here. If you need a little extra challenge, you can add a little pulse at the top. Keeping the glutes really fired. They should be turned on throughout the movement. Core nice and tight. 20 total. Keeping the neck nice and neutral. Good work, guys. Beautiful. Once you finish those, we're going into renegade rows. When we do these in the gym, we usually do them weighted, but they're plenty challenging without a weight. So you're here in a high plank position. For 20 reps, we're just pulling up to our sides as if you were holding a weight here. If that's too easy, you can bring arms up here, 20 times. If that's still super easy for you, you can lift opposite arm and leg 20 times. Otherwise, the most regressed form of this is just pulling up to your sides, keeping the core nice and tight, not letting the hips swing out to the side here, opening up as you pull up, keeping everything nice and still except for the arms. 20 total. Good work, guys. Try not to let the hips come up. I want a nice straight line from head to toe, not letting the butt come up. Good work. Good. After our renegade rows, we're either doing a 30-second Superman hold, or if you want an extra challenge, you can do pulses. So this is for the low back here, strengthening the glutes and the low back. I don't want the neck here, I want a nice neutral neck. And you're either holding here for 30 seconds. If that's too easy, you can do pulses. So 30 seconds of pulses. Going in 3, 2, 1, holding or pulsing. Try not to let everything loose when you come to the bottom. If you're pulsing, it should still be turned on. Five more seconds, guys. Nice work. Keeping the neck nice and neutral. And time. Let's see what we have here for time. We're gonna go through everything one more time. If you need to regress movements this time, that's totally fine. Once we finish all of this, we're gonna go through some core exercises. So we're starting again with our ice skaters. Here, ice skaters, 20 total. Pick up the speed a little bit on this round if you can, but that doesn't mean letting things come loose. Still keeping the core nice and tight, keeping the same form, nice vertical shins, weight in the heels. Kind of at your own pace on your ice skaters. Once you get to 20, you can take a breath, breathe, Catch your breath for the next exercise. Anyone that needs a rest too, you're always welcome to go into child's pose. Open up the knees, let the low back rest, and take deep breaths. Good work, guys. After our ice skaters, we're going back into our lateral bound jumps. 10 total with our added squat. I will count you down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, let's go for 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Beautiful work. Single leg bridges. Option to add the flare if you would like, or to just keep both feet on the ground and do a regular bridge. So you're here, feet hip width distance apart, core turned on, squeezing the glutes as you come up. If you're just doing a regular bridge, otherwise single leg. Here, otherwise single leg with a flare. 10 total. Do 5 on one side and 5 on the other, or you can alternate legs. You should really feel this in the hamstring and the glutes. Keep the hips nice and even. Don't let one side of the pelvis drop as you bring that leg out. Really nice work, guys. Good. All right, moving on to our reverse lunges. Option to keep the feet on the ground when you come back together, or to bring the toes up to meet the knee. 10 on each side. Keeping the core nice and tight for stability, picking a point to look at so it makes your ability to balance a little bit better. Should feel the glutes on this one as well. Keeping the weight in the heels, nice vertical shins, rib cages drop down, core is turned on. 10 on each side. And you'll notice that your balance on one side may be significantly different than the other. Really nice work, guys. Good, taking a second to breathe. Always going into child's pose if you need it. We're then going into our squat pulses with our 30-second squat hold. Last movement here for our lower body. Coming into our normal squat stance, toes at a slight angle, whatever's comfortable for you for your squat. Going in 3, 2, 1, pulses, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and holding for 30 seconds. Last time here, guys. If it's a good burn, just work through it. If something feels like it's hurting too much, just ease off. 15 more seconds. 5 seconds. Good work, guys. That's a really good burn. And time. Good work. Going through our lower body movements or upper body movements one more time, and then going into whatever time we have left for core. So 10 push-ups, bringing elbows in as nice and close as you can. Option to go off the knees or off the feet. Counting at your own pace. Good, I know nobody likes push-ups. They're all of our least favorite movement, but they're so, so good for you. Awesome, guys. Going into our bird dog. So either single leg and arm, either just here, picking up one arm, picking up one leg, or simultaneous, keeping the core nice and tight. Be mindful of how high you're bringing that leg. So not coming up here with it, keeping the pelvis dropped, core turned on, 10 each side. Other option is to come into your full plank position, lifting opposite arm and leg. That requires a lot of stability. Once you get to 20 total, catching your breath, make sure you're not bringing that leg too high on your bird dogs. That causes the low back to arch. We want the pelvis tucked, core turned on. Really nice work, guys. You can also flex the back foot. That helps to fire the glutes a little bit more. Looks like people are finishing up. Going into our renegade rows. 10 total on each side, so 20 total, excuse me. Here in your high plank position, rowing. 20 total. If that's too easy, you can pick up the arm here. Once again, not letting the hips swing side to side, keeping the core turned on, nothing moving except for the arm that's coming up. Also, any movement like this that you're doing in the future, if you're having trouble with stability, all that you need to do is widen the feet. Really nice work, guys. Good. After renegade rows, going back to our either Superman hold or pulses. So 30 total, either pulsing for 30 seconds or holding for 30 seconds. I will count you down. Going in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Keep a nice neutral neck, keep the core turned on. Shouldn't feel it too much in the low back. If you do, bring things down a little bit. Good work, guys. Either pulsing or holding. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and time. Good work, guys. That's all of our upper and lower body. Going into some core movements now. If you're totally depleted of energy, that's totally fine. Take this time to stretch and roll if you have a roller. Otherwise, we're gonna do some core and I can provide you some quick stretches once we finished. For core, we're doing 10 controlled mountain climbers to start. So you are here Also, if anybody needs to leave and grab water, whatever you need to do, please. 10 controlled mountain climbers, high plank position here. So we're bringing knee up to meet the elbow, but I want it nice and controlled all the way up and back. 10 total, so 5 on each side, but that's really, I'm meaning like as slow as you can go, because that adds that extra challenge for the core. Once you get to 10, you will really feel it. This is working on the obliques, the side of the abdominals that a lot of the time we forget about. 10 total here. Pulling shoulder blades apart, not letting the low back arch here, keeping the pelvis nice and tucked. Once you get to 10, coming down to your knees, resting until we get to the next movement. Good, looks like everybody's finished. Going into leg lowers. So with leg lowers, what's important is that you're not letting the low back arch. So I don't want to see, it's not great if you can come all the way down, but then your low back is here. You want the low back touching the ground most of the time, or like they would say in Pilates, just a neutral spine. So it's okay if you have a little bit of an arch. If that's your natural spine, that's fine. But if your back starts to arch excessively, just come as low as you can before you start to feel that happen. So if that's right here, that's fine. If that's here, that's fine. But I want 10 total. Nice and slow and controlled on the way down. You can put your hands under your glutes for extra stability. This works on the lower abdominals. Kind of a hard part of the abs to target when we're doing ab exercises. Also, if that's too challenging for people, sorry I didn't mention, you can also do one leg at a time. Nice, slow and controlled. Good work, guys. Going into Russian twists after our leg lowers. So we're doing 20 total. Generally, we would do these with a weight, but they're totally fine to do with just body weight. So if you're doing regular, your knees are at about a 45-degree angle, trying to keep too much of rounding in the low back happening. Keep the pelvis nice and neutral, and you're here rotating side to side. Rotating in the obliques, so try to keep it that the whole chest is not rotating. You're here, still looking forward, feeling it all here in the torso. This whole thing is rotating, but we're not bringing the chest all the way here because that's when it starts to irritate the back. If that's too difficult, you can always drop your heels to the floor. This will still be challenging for you. 20 total. Really nice work, guys. Then we're going into squeezers. So squeezers can also be regressed or made more challenging. So you're here lying all the way down, and then you're simply just coming up, squeezing arms and legs together, getting about a 45-degree angle at the knees. If that's too easy for you, you can do pike ups as well. These are much more challenging though. Coming here, hands and toes meeting at the top. 10 total. Otherwise, you're doing squeezers. Keeping the core nice and tight the whole time. Ten total. Work. Really nice work, guys. Once you finish these, we're going through our core one more time, and that is all I have for you today after that. All right, looks like most people have gone through it, so we're back to our 10 controlled mountain climbers. High plank position, core is turned on, pulling shoulder blades apart, bringing the knee to meet the elbow here, not letting the hips swing as we bring the knee up to meet the elbow. The only thing that's moving is the leg here. 10 total. I'm doing them a little bit fast. They should be nice and slow and controlled for the added challenge. Try to keep a nice neutral neck, not letting the head drop. Good. After our controlled mountain climbers, going back to our leg lowers. As I gave you the option, either doing one leg at a time or both legs at the same time, being sure that you're not letting the low back arch too much. Nice and slow and controlled on the way down, really engaging your abs. Good work, guys. Russian twists. One more movement after a Russian twist, and then we are finished. Either feet on the floor or the full movement, knees at about a 45, twisting with the torso here. Looking straight ahead, 20 total. Really nice work. Squeezers or pike ups for our last 10 reps. Really good. I have a couple stretches for you guys. If anyone needs to go, please go ahead. Just a couple options for stretches. Here in a half kneeling position, shins are nice and vertical, quad is nice and vertical. So I want the alignment between the hips and the knees, and here, the knees and the ankle. Driving this knee into the floor, tucking the pelvis here, and leaning into this knee, driving forward with this hip here. Should feel a deep stretch in the quads. Keeping the rib cage dropped down, core turned on, driving forward with this knee, holding for about 15 seconds on each side. Should feel a deep stretch in the hips here. Really putting weight into this knee, this back knee, driving forward with the hip. And then switching sides. Stretching out the inner thigh here a little bit, and the back of the quads or the hamstrings and glutes. Just a good stretch that we all know, crossing the ankle over the knee here, driving this foot back, so you're flexing the foot here to protect this knee. Make sure you're really flexing the foot, and then driving this heel into the thigh here. If you need a little extra challenge, you can press this knee into your hand, and you'll feel more of a stretch in the glutes. But that should be fun for people. Other option would be to do, I'm forgetting what that stretch is called. I think it's penguin or scorpion. You're here. This knee should be in line with the hip. You're coming down onto your elbows, driving this quad into the ground, and then not letting this glute sink down. That would make the ankle to knee stretch a little bit more of a challenge if you don't feel it in the ankle to knee stretch. Of course, hitting both sides of whatever stretch you do. And then other option, I want to make sure people get through both sides before I move on. Oh, is that Karen? Oh my gosh. I was like, wait, is Morgan at home? Hi. Oh, this is amazing. Okay, and then one last stretch for the inner thigh here, bringing this knee into the inner, or this foot into the inner thigh, keeping everything angled toward this toe. The hips are in line, everything nice and neutral, tucking the pelvis under, and then just coming as far down as you can, but make sure everything is nice and square to this leg. So you're not opened up to the side, everything nice and square, flexing this toe. If you can, bring your head down to meet your elbow a little bit, that's fine. You'll feel a little stretch in the low back here, that's totally fine, but mainly wanting to feel the stretch in the hamstrings. Holding for about 15 seconds on each side. Last stretch here. And then you are free to go on with your beautiful day. Hopefully get some time outside if you haven't already. If it's not raining wherever you are, it is so gorgeous out. All right, you guys, it has been such a pleasure to teach you. It's my first time being able to experience doing something virtual like this, so maybe doing more of this in the future. I really appreciate all of you coming to log in. It's been super emotional and special for me. Thank you so much.
That was awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks for hopping on, everyone.
Oh, that was great. Thanks, Katja. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Of course. So nice to see all of your beautiful faces. Thank